Attorney General Letitia James, the Democrat who once sued Donald Trump for fraud, is accused of committing fraud herself, and not some minor slip-up. This is a full-blown federal mortgage fraud case, brought on by a Trump-aligned prosecutor accusing her of lying to get a better deal on her home mortgage. It's the kind of hypocrisy that makes you shake your head and wonder, did she think she was above the law? Or did she think we wouldn't catch her? But don't worry, because in this video, we're going to break it all down. Welcome back, and if you're new, this will be a good one, so make sure you like, comment, and consider subscribing for daily news updates. It means the world to me, and don't forget to share. New jaw-dropping details have come to light. Her very own grandniece was living in the property rent-free. It's also important to mention that Letitia's grandniece has a criminal background. Suddenly, this isn't just a bad mortgage application. It looks like a carefully orchestrated scheme. Also, breaking news, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they are panicking. They are filing legal briefs, and they are trying to spin that this whole case is just political persecution. But from where I sit, that defense is going to crumble. I'm 100% sure that it is. Because when you allegedly lie on loan paperwork, let your niece live there rent-free, and try to use your power to help fix the mess you created, you're only making the situation worse. Let's start with this clip of ABC announcing that Letitia pleads not guilty to the mortgage fraud charges. However, there's a twist.
Yeah, breaking news. New York Attorney General Letitia James has pleaded not guilty to mortgage fraud charges. President Trump's handpicked U.S. attorney indicted James earlier this month after he publicly called for James and others to be prosecuted. James successfully brought a civil fraud case against Trump in 2022 and leads multiple lawsuits challenging his administration's policies. Now her trial is set for January 26th. Let's bring back ABC News legal contributor James Sample for more. James, no huge surprise here. She says she's pleading not guilty to both of these charges.
Yeah, Letitia James has obviously been in court as much as any criminal defendant ever could be. She's got experience. She, I'm sure, articulated that with a certain pizzazz to indicate just how she feels about these charges. But she pleaded not guilty. That's not a surprise. They agreed on a trial date for late January. I suspect we're going to see a lot of motion practice between now and then as she tries to get rid of this case entirely.
And talk a little bit more about that. What are you watching for in those motions leading up to the actual trial date?
So, like James Comey, yesterday she filed a motion in court indicating that she intends to seek the dismissal of these charges on multiple grounds, one of which is that she argues that Lindsay Halligan, the newly appointed U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, was unlawfully appointed, and therefore that the indictment, which she's the only one to have signed, presumably, is invalid. She's also expected to file motions for vindictive and selective prosecution, and of course she'll contest the charges on the merits, indicating that as the attorneys in the Eastern District of Virginia before Lindsay Halligan took office indicated that the prosecution lacks merit. After
watching that clip, a few things stuck out to me. The first being that Letitia James, a prosecutor, is now the one being prosecuted. She's in the place that she's supposed to work with and put people in jail for. And now the tables have turned. Another point that stuck out to me was the fact that James, she's pushing for the dismissal of this case because it seems like she knows if they do go to trial, she will have a lot of proof and evidence stacked up against her. So her plan is basically if she can get her case dismissed, now she wants to put the fire back on the prosecutor who is aligned with Trump, Lindsay Halligan. If she can say that Lindsay Halligan wasn't sworn incorrectly and that things were missed to even give merit to this case, she's going to try to push it all the way out. But in my opinion, I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't feel like any of these appeals that she's trying to do will work. And just knowing that she is the Attorney General prosecutor, we can see that she might have some tricks up her sleeve that she might throw into the battle. And we're going to just have to wait to find out what they are. Next, I want to look at recent news of Letitia trying to disqualify prosecutors against her in a desperate attempt to get her charges dropped. Watch this.
Just getting out of the courtroom, Caitlin, you were inside. You listened to all those arguments. So what happened during the hearing?
Well, Wolf and Pam, I was listening very closely to how Judge Cameron McGowan Curry was going to handle this hearing. And she's a laid-back questioner, a very concise questioner. But boy, it was a grilling of the Justice Department, if I have ever seen one before, from a judge like this. What Judge Curry asked, her very last question of the the Justice Department, do you believe U.S. v. Trump was wrongly decided? That's a very telling question, because the Trump defense team, when Donald Trump was a criminal defendant, he had won his case by having the prosecutor, Jack Smith, tossed off of it in Florida in a set of arguments very similar to this. And Judge Curry is now asking the Justice Department, are you guys against that now, as the Justice Department wanting these cases against James Comey and Letitia James to go forward? The Justice Department lawyer responded, that's a different thing. That was a different situation that doesn't apply here. But that was quite a question that elicited gasps across the courtroom from a lot of people that were listening to this hearing. The other thing that Judge Curry did is she really dug in to some of the moves the Attorney General had made in this case to stand up and back Lindsay Halligan, the Eastern District of Virginia U.S. Attorney, who's there sent by Donald Trump on an interim basis. The bigger picture of this case is has it been too long without a Senate confirmed person in this job? Judge Curry asked some questions of that, but she had even more questions for the Justice Department, even a back and forth on whether or not it was needed for the Attorney General to send an order into court. And she pointed out that the Attorney General said in a statement to the court, in an order she signed on October 31st, she had read all of the grand jury transcripts in this case. The judge went back and forth with that Justice Department attorney saying that's not even possible, and some of them are missing. Wolf and Pam. Oh, one more thing.
With that clip, we learned what happened today with the judge and the courts. It was a very strong grilling of questions, especially from the judge. The judge asked one main question that really stuck out. The fact is that Trump did the exact same thing when he was the one being prosecuted, and now you're doing it too. But before you said it was wrong and that Trump shouldn't have been allowed. So now, is it allowed because you want to do it? That right there makes you see that the tables have turned on Letitia James. Something else I want you to think about is look at how much energy Letitia James is putting into Lindsay Halligan. She wants all of the attention there so that she can sweep her case under the rug. And the main question is, why would she want to do that? The answer? Because she knows she's guilty. Lastly, I want to look at Newsmax speaking on her indictment and suggesting that she might have done this multiple times. Take a look at this.
This is about someone doing something allegedly wrong and getting caught, so walk us through it.
I'll walk you through it. First of all, she owns 3 properties, one on Peroni Avenue in Virginia, one on Sterling Drive in Virginia, and one in Brooklyn. This indictment covers the property on Peroni Avenue. First of all, I'm not part of this tit for tat with Trump or anything like that.
Nope.
I was at the time I was retired, taking my time, looking through financial puzzles, and I was looking at the financial reporting of Letitia James to New York State, her personal financial disclosures. What I found was she bought that property on Peroni Avenue, the one she was indicted for, in 2020. In 2021, she showed no mortgage. 2022, she showed no mortgage. In 2023, all of a sudden, 2 mortgages pop up that exceed the value of the property by about 200%. That led to a red flag, so I went back, as any forensic accountant does, and I ordered the title report, and all of a sudden, I find that she bought the property with a mortgage that was never disclosed, and the 2 mortgages that were disclosed to New York State were not in the property records, unrecorded mortgages. Now,
in that clip, it's very insightful. We are hearing from a forensic accountant, meaning he has no issues with anyone. He's only focused on the numbers and the paperwork. And through his review of the paperwork, he can see there's a big problem there. The things that need to be listed on paperwork, they aren't there, or they've been altered, which is all in all illegal. And also to know that she's done this with multiple properties, changing certain parts of it for paperwork purposes, it can show you she knew what she was doing. This wasn't just a one-time accident, a one mistake happening. No, this was a plan. This was something that she used in her life, and it was working. She didn't believe that she would be caught. And even if she was caught, I believe that she thought she could get away with it. She could twist and turn it to make it seem logical and understandable. When in reality, the government cracking down on it, it's not working, hun. It is also very ironic to see that she had the audacity to want to pursue President Trump and with fraud, despite her doing it herself and in a big way. All in all, this wasn't a minor issue. She did something huge. This isn't a few dollars. This is thousands and thousands of dollars for mortgages and investments. So it makes sense why she would want to get the pressure off of her, because she knows she's in the wrong. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on KW Lawholic.